The imperial court of Velthera trembled as Princess Zira stood before the holographic display. The creature on screen was massive, 12 feet of scaled muscle, glowing violet eyes and claws that could rend steel. Her advisors whispered in horror, but Zira's gaze remained fixed on the human standing beside the beast, his hand resting calmly on its armored flank. "That is Project Omega," her chief scientist stammered. "The bioweapon we abandoned 15 cycles ago. And that human, that's Darren Holt." Zira's blood ran cold. She knew that name. Every Veltheran did. Darren Holt was the human who had humiliated their greatest warriors, who had rejected their treaties, who had chosen exile over servitude, and now he stood with the most dangerous creation her people had ever made. How did he get it? Zira demanded. The scientist's scales paled. "Your Highness, we left it to die. It was a hatchling, deemed a failure. Aggressive, uncontrollable, worthless. We dumped it on Outpost 7 before we evacuated." "And Holt was stationed there?" "Yes, he was the only one who stayed when we withdrew." Zira closed her eyes. 15 years ago, her father had signed the order to abandon Outpost 7, leaving behind equipment, supplies, and one stubborn human maintenance worker who refused evacuation. They assumed he would perish within weeks. Instead, he had become a legend, a ghost in the frontier, appearing when colonies faced disasters, vanishing before anyone could thank him. And now she understood why he had stayed. "Prepare my shuttle," Zira commanded. "I'm going to see him." Her advisors protested, but she silenced them with a gesture. Her people had created this problem. A princess did not hide from consequences. Outpost 7 was a forgotten scar on a forgotten moon. Zira's shuttle descended through acid rain, landing in what was once a military courtyard. Now it was a garden. Impossible, yet there it was. Earth vegetation thriving in toxic soil somehow transformed. Darren Holt waited at the landing pad, arms crossed. He was older than the records showed, silver threading through his dark hair, but his eyes held the same defiant spark that had infuriated her father's generals. Behind him, the creature loomed. Up close it was even more terrifying, but as Zira approached, she noticed something that stopped her breath. The beast's eyes tracked Holt's slightest movement. Its massive tail swayed in rhythm with his breathing, and when he shifted his weight, it lowered its head protectively over him. "Princess Zira," Holt said, his voice rough from disuse. "Didn't expect royalty. What do you call it?" she asked, unable to look away from the creature. "Her name is Nova." Holt's hand rose to scratch beneath the beast's jaw. Nova's eyes half closed in contentment, a deep rumble emanating from her chest. "She was about the size of my hand when I found her in the biolab. Starving, scared. Your people had pumped her full of aggression hormones and wondered why she wouldn't obey." Zira felt shame burn through her. "We engineered her as a weapon. You tortured a baby and called it science." Holt's words were quiet, but they cut deeper than any shout. "She wasn't aggressive. She was traumatized. Took me 6 months before she'd let me touch her without flinching. Another year before she'd eat without checking every shadow for threats. And now she's exactly what she was always meant to be." Holt smiled, and Zira saw genuine affection in his expression. "Loyal, intelligent, protective, you didn't create a weapon, Princess. You created a person. You just didn't bother to notice." Nova's massive head swung toward Zira, and she instinctively stepped back, but the creature didn't attack. Instead, she sniffed the air, her eyes narrowing in what looked disturbingly like recognition. "She knows me. She knows your scent. Your genetic markers are in her DNA structure. Your scientists used royal bloodlines in her creation, didn't they?" Holt's smile turned bitter. "They wanted her to recognize authority, to obey the crown. But obedience isn't programmed, Princess. It's earned." Zira met Nova's gaze. The creature tilted her head, studying the princess with unsettling intelligence. Then slowly, Nova lowered herself to the ground, her posture unthreatening. "Why are you here?" Holt asked. "The Federation has discovered Nova's existence. They're calling her an unregistered bioweapon. They've demanded her termination, or they'll sanction Velthara. So you came to kill her?" "No." Zira surprised herself with the firmness of her answer. "I came to understand. My people abandoned you both. We created her, tortured her, and threw her away. You had every right to weaponize her against us. Why didn't you?" Holt was quiet for a long moment. "Because that would make me like you." like what your people were when they created her. She deserved better. She deserved someone who saw her as more than a tool. The Federation won't back down. They're afraid. When they see her, they see a monster that could devastate planets. Then they're looking wrong. Holt's voice hardened. Nova has saved 17 colonies in the last decade. Rescued miners trapped in collapsed shafts, fought off raiders, protected refugees. She's done more good than any Veltheran warship ever did. Zira pulled out a data pad. I brought something, records, every rescue, every intervention. I've been tracking you both for 5 years. I can present this to the Federation Council. Why would you do that? Because you're right. We created her. We owe her. Zira stepped closer to Nova, her heart hammering, and extended her hand. And because humanity has a saying I've learned, we judge beings by their actions, not their origins. Nova's hot breath washed over Zira's palm. Then gently the creature pressed her snout against the princess's hand. The rumble in her chest deepened. Not aggression, but something almost like approval. Holt laughed, a sound of genuine surprise. She likes you. That's unexpected. Will you come with me? Both of you? Stand before the council and show them what Nova truly is? Darren Holt looked at his companion, his friend, his family. Nova's glowing eyes met his, and something passed between them that Zira couldn't name but recognized. Absolute trust. We'll come, Holt said, but not because of treaties or politics. We'll come because every being deserves to be seen for who they are, not what others fear they could become. As Zira's shuttle lifted off hours later, Nova perched in the cargo bay and Darren in the co-pilot's seat. The princess understood something profound. Her people had created a weapon, yes, but this human, stubborn, compassionate, impossible, had created something far more powerful. He had created hope. And perhaps, Zira thought as she set course for the Federation homeworld, that was the most terrifying thing humanity had ever brought to the stars.